What up, reader fam? Today I'm bringing you a chit-chatty video. Hey! Today I'm going to be talking about forgettable books. I've been perusing my bookshelves lately, as I do, taking a little nice look at my collection, giving some books some hard eyes, and I realized that I have some books that I just flat out don't remember. And not in the sense that I don't remember buying them, because I do remember getting these books and having them as a part of my collection, but there are some books that I remember reading, and I looked at those books and I'm like, wow, I remember nothing about you. I don't remember when I read you, and I remember nothing about the world, the plot, the characters. You catch my drift? I remember reading these books, but I don't remember when I read these books. Usually when I look at the read books on my bookshelves, I can remember the year I read them in. Sometimes even the specific month I read them in. Hashtag reader skills, or maybe I should say hashtag book nerd. I feel like that suits that better. But these random books that I came across, I was like, I remember reading you, but I don't remember when I read you. Also, I remember nothing about you. I'm usually someone who reads a book and can remember the general plot breakdown, and I can remember character names and things about the world. But there were like 5 books on my shelves that I could vaguely remember anything about. It honestly makes me feel like such a bad reader. What about that book made me not remember it? Was I distracted while reading it? Did I read it too quickly? Did I not take the time to absorb it? Did I accidentally wring out the sponge that soaked up all the information about the book on accident? I'm just really curious to know why this happens. Why did these books end up being ones that I don't remember? I will say that a majority of the books that are on this list that I'm about to share with you, I didn't necessarily love. Oops. But at the same time, I didn't hate them either. I guess they didn't have the wow factor that had me gasping for air as I was reading them. Not that that ever happens, but they didn't have that punch that punches me in the gut when I read them. Not that that happens either. But you know what I mean, they just didn't have that wow factor. Okay, harsh man, can you be any harsher? It makes me wonder if I didn't retain the information because of the fact that I didn't enjoy these books. Maybe I didn't want to remember them because I didn't like them enough to care. Maybe I would just prefer to store the books that I love in my memory and just get rid of the bad books. If it's not gonna serve me some greatness, then it doesn't deserve to remain in my memory. I usually have a really good memory though, like I remember the smallest of things, especially because I'm an overthinker and I take those small things and I make them into massive things in my mind. I take that small little thing that happened to me and make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and over the years it just becomes this giant thing, even though it was actually this small little thing that happened to me. I should really work on not doing that. I also never forget awkward moments. Those play on loop in my mind as I'm trying to fall asleep, which causes me not to fall asleep because all I can do is think about these awkward moments. The worst. I know it's completely impossible to remember every little detail of every book I read, because over time, things about the story begin to dissolve in our minds. I just wish that I had the power to consume books and just store every little detail in my mind. I could just have a library up in my mind. I could just go to each book, pick out a book, and just remember every little detail about it. If you're able to do that, then please, fill me in on your secret. I want to have a library in my mind. I mean, technically I have a library of my own stories, but a lot of those contain awkward moments, and I would like to not think about those awkward moments. I'd like to have access to other stories up there. I know that rereading books actually helps a lot, but I don't got time to reread every single book on my bookshelf. I mean, I wish I could do that. Reread all the things. There are new books constantly popping up, and there are old titles that I still need to get to. I'm talking to you, Heroes of Olympus series. I do love rereading books, but it's just not possible for me to reread every single book I own. I also know that I'm more so likely to remember books if I take notes while I'm reading, but honestly, sometimes I'm just not in the mood for that. When I take notes while I'm reading, sometimes it can take the joy out of the reading experience. It becomes like work or like school, and those are two things that I would like to avoid while I'm reading. But I do find it incredibly helpful in me remembering things about the book. One of the things that I do remember about these books that I'm about to share with you is the way I felt about them after reading them, which is really interesting to me. Like, I don't remember much about the books themselves, but I remember the way they made me feel. So here are 5 books on my bookshelf that I don't remember that much about. First up, I have here The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. The one thing that I distinctly remember about this book is being really underwhelmed by it, but I don't remember exactly why. Like, what about it made me underwhelmed? I also almost want to say that I remember being excited about this book because of the concept. Like, the concept really interested me, but if I remember correctly, I don't think it did it justice. So maybe that's why I was really underwhelmed by it. I also feel like I remember it playing around with different tropes. Like, I feel like it plays around with a trope. Like, in a way, I feel like it was maybe a parody of a trope or something. I can't remember. I'm gonna read the description and find out. So yeah, I don't remember much of this. Chosen One! The Chosen One trope! That's what it plays with! I knew it was some kind of trope that it plays with! But again, that's all I remember. The rest of it, poof! No memory of it exists up in here. Next up I have here The Lies About Truth by Courtney C. Stevens. I'm actually really sad about this one because I love this author. Her book, Faking Normal. This book right here is incredible. It's one of my all-time favorite books and it's super hecka underrated. I know it's not got the best book cover, but it's a fantastic book. This book, on the other hand, just didn't stick out to me. I do slightly remember one element of the plot, and that's the fact that a car crash takes place. I don't know who's involved in the car crash. I feel like I remember the plot being built around this car crash, but I don't remember when exactly it happens or anything. Like, I feel like it is a story about a girl who's dealing with the aftermath of a car crash. I could be wrong though. Let me look at this description. Okay, the first line of the description is Sadie Kingston is living in the aftermath, so I was right about the aftermath. Oh, okay. I'm remembering details about this now. It's about a girl who gets in a car crash and her friend dies in the car crash and she's left with all these different scars and things. I do remember that, but I also don't remember anything else. Like, I don't remember what her healing process is like or anything. Maybe I should reread this book. I remember reading it and just kind of feeling okay about it. Like, it was just an okay read. It didn't blow me away, but I didn't hate it either. It just existed and I read it, and that's the story of that. It's so hard to categorize books like this in my mind. Like, it's not a book that I loved. It's not a book that I hated. It's just somewhere in the middle. It was a decent book. Next up I have here Fairest. This is a novella that takes place in the Lunar Chronicles series. The one thing I remember about this book is the rage I felt while reading it, because I hate Levana's character. I didn't feel like this novella was needed. It added nothing to the Lunar Chronicles world, in my opinion. So maybe because of that, in my mind, I just blocked it. I was like, I don't even want to think about you. You're a stranger to me. If it were to have added something to the Lunar Chronicles series, I feel like I probably would have remembered it, but I don't remember much about it. I actually do remember that I feel like it was trying to make me feel bad for Levana's character, and like, yeah, she goes through some pretty tough things, but that doesn't excuse her from being terrible. You don't gotta be cruel to everyone in your path, and that's all I gotta say about that. Next I have here Let's Get Lost by Adi Alsaid. This is the one that I remember the most, but I still don't remember that much about it. All I remember is this one is about a girl going on road trips, and she's trying to find herself, which I think the reason why I remember this book is because that's such a basic story concept. I feel like we've seen this concept be done time and time again. That whole YA road trip story element, which I'm not mad at that. I love that concept. I love me a good road trip story. I vaguely remember not liking this one because of the main character. Like, I felt like such a disconnect with her, almost like she was a really flat character or something. I also just vaguely remember wanting it to kind of stand out. Like, it didn't necessarily bring anything new to the story element, this idea of a road trip and a person finding themselves. But honestly, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't remember that much about it. I wonder how many times I've said I don't remember throughout this video. Far too many times, I'm sure. Next up I have here The Girl with All the Gifts, which I actually really enjoyed this book. I remember really liking it when I read it, yet I don't know anything about it. Like, all I remember is that there's a girl with all these gifts, aka what the title tells us. But that makes me wonder, did I actually like this book? Why didn't it stick with me? Why didn't it tuck itself away in my memory? Get in there. Why was it so easily forgettable? I have so many questions for you, and you're not gonna answer any of them, are you? Fine. Be that way. So those are just some of my thoughts on forgettable books and some books that I just completely forgot about. You guys should let me know down below in the comments how you guys feel about this topic. Do you forget books easily, or are you somebody who just completely remembers books? Also, let me know down below in the comments some books that you've just completely forgotten about. Make me feel better about myself. Make me feel like I'm not alone here and forgetting about some of these books. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe, or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew.